What's up, Eagles fans? Welcome into the All-22 review driven by AAA. I'm your host, Fran Duffy, and the Eagles fall, tough one here, to the New York Giants on the road at MetLife Stadium. Unable to have a lot of success on third down. Defensively, too many missed tackles, some issues in the run game, especially early on in this football game. But we're going to focus here early on some of the defensive success and then also some really good stuff on the ground for the Eagles offense. So we'll hit on a couple of those things. Obviously, not enough to get the Eagles into the win column against the rival New York Giants. But it all started on the first play of the game. And we're going to look here at this sack by Barnett. A couple weeks ago, week 7, he had a sack against the top 5 pick, Andrew Thomas. Here we're going to see exactly the same thing. And here's Barnett here lined up at his right defensive end spot. Last time these two teams played a couple of weeks ago, he went with a spin move where he's going to try and sell the speed rush and then spin back inside the left tackle and get to quarterback Daniel Jones. This time, he's going to sell speed and go right through that left tackle. Coming out of college, Barnett was a pure speed rusher, and you really wanted to see him kind of develop some of those inside rush moves, and it's cool to see that here on the very first play as we can let this play roll, and you're going to see Barnett come off the ball, put his foot in the ground, and drive the tackle back into the quarterback's lap, gets home for a sack, really starting to come into his own in terms of diversifying his pass rush plan. All right, well, let's take a look at one of Jalen Reagor's first catches in this game. It's going to be on 4th and 1 on the opening drive. It leads to a field goal for the Eagles offense, their only points of the first half. We're going to see here that Carson Wentz on 4th and 1 is lined up under center. And right away, alarm bells have to be going off for the Giants defense for what? Quarterback sneak, right? So if you look at this Giants defense, a lot of blue jerseys right up on the line of scrimmage. Well, the Eagles dip into their bag of tricks here on a play that has worked for them a lot over the last couple of seasons down on the goal line, because very often, and ironically enough, we've seen this play go to Alshon Jeffrey for some nice touchdowns, 2-point conversions down on the goal line, where you're going to have a couple of receivers stacked in the slot, and then you're going to have an outside receiver just slowly kind of work his way in. And then basically, this is essentially a screen pass where you're going to have 2 lead blockers out in front, and this receiver only needs to gain a couple of yards. In those old cases, it would be to get into the end zone. Here, it's just to cross the 48-yard line. And so we're going to let this play run, and you're going to see, again, they're selling quarterback sneak. Right off the bat, Carson Wentz is going to take the snap and dish this ball out to Jalen Reagor. You've got a couple of blocks out in front. The corner that's responsible for Reagor, he's so far off, he's not going to be able to make a play on this ball. Nice and easy pitch and catch. We can let this run, and you can see Jalen Reagor easily picks up the first down. Again, this drive leads to a field goal. Eagles get an answer here on their opening drive, down 7-3. So the Eagles go into the locker room down 14-3, and they come out of the locker room in the third quarter with a really physical drive, a couple of big-time runs that we'll take a look at here on this segment. And now, really we're going to start things off with this big-time run by Miles Sanders. And this is going to be a wham trap play. So let's just break that down. You've got the wham and the trap. A wham block is when you have a tight end or a fullback block an interior defensive lineman, a defensive tackle. So that's what you're going to get here with Dallas Goedert blocking that backside 3 technique. Then you've got the guard. He's going to wrap around Jason Kelce and block the nose tackle. That is a trap block. So you've got your wham and you've got your trap. Those 2 blocks are going to spring Miles Sanders. And the big part about that is by having these 2 guys block these 2 players, that frees up the center, Jason Kelce, because he's not worried about either of those defensive tackles, right? He can now leak up immediately to the second level and block the linebacker. And so now you're kind of exchanging bodies for bodies along the offensive line, and that allows you to get linemen, bigger bodies, up to the linebacker level. So if Miles Sanders, if he shows the trust in this blocking scheme, if he's very decisive downhill and doesn't chatter his feet at all, he's going to play right off the block of Dallas Goedert. Again, if he's able to block that backside defensive tackle, you're going to see him work right off of that. If he stutters or delays his insert at any point, this play is going to go for no gain. But watch how decisive Miles Sanders is here on this play. Dallas Goedert gets his man to the ground. Great job of Miles Sanders playing off Jason Kelce's block. He goes 20 yards there to get the Eagles going. So again, the wham trap block goes for a big play, an X play, in the run game. Now, you go a couple plays later, Boston Scott is going to take this 56 yards for a touchdown, and we're going to take a look at exactly the construct of this play because this is a run-pass option. So let's break down the pass aspect of this first. You're going to get an in-breaking route on the backside. You're going to get a route from Travis Fulgham as well. So you've got those on the backside of this play, the offensive line on that side. Those guys are going to be pass setting really the defense, they're putting a bind. Are you going to look downhill against the run, or are you going to move back and try and play against the pass? Carson Wentz, he's going to get the snap, and he's going to read that linebacker. If he kind of sits back as if he's going to defend this slant route from the slot receiver, it's an easy handoff. You're handing this ball off to Boston Scott. If he's very aggressive and attacks the line of scrimmage, well, now you're going to throw because this passing lane is going to be wide open to the slot receiver, Jalen Reagor. So we're going to see how this plays out with the pass game. But before we get to that, I want you to see what they're doing in the run game. And all you're going to get is what's called a pin-pull scheme. Break this down really simple. You've got pins from the outside. They're going to pin their guys inside towards the center of the field. And then you've got some pullers, namely Jason Kelce. He's going to pull out to the perimeter, and he's going to block this force player, the corner here, out on the boundary. As soon as he gets that block, Boston Scott does the rest of the work, and he sprints for pay dirt. So we'll watch this. Carson Wentz is going to take the snap, makes his read, sees the linebacker open his hips to defend the pass, hands this off to Boston Scott. You can see 55 is in pursuit. He's not going to make the play. Scott makes the safety miss, goes the rest of the way for a touchdown. Well-executed RPO for the Eagles here, and they pull this within a couple points. Really nice job here by the Eagles executing in the RPO run game. So after that touchdown by Boston Scott, the Eagles are going to go for two. They're going to try and make this a three-point game. It's going to be a simple handoff from Carson Wentz to Miles Sanders. And all you're going to get Dallas Goedert working across the formation to try and block that end man on the line of scrimmage. And you're just going to get a bunch of movement here from the offensive line from the Eagles. I want you to watch the job that Matt Pryor does from the right guard spot. Look at the double team by Sua Opeta and Jason Peters. A lot of blue jerseys moving backwards. They're going to end up back by the goal line. Miles Sanders, again, he's not going to chatter his feet. He's going to be decisive. He knows he only has a couple yards to go. He's just got to stick his head down and barrel through this traffic. And you see the movement there. The wall's created, a bunch of white jerseys moving some blue jerseys. You see Lane Johnson's excited. So after the Eagles make it a three-point game, the Giants get the ball back and they move the ball down quickly and they score a touchdown. So they extend the lead to 10 points. The Eagles get the ball back. They, in turn, go back down the field, and they're able to get into the low red zone, and we see this touchdown run here by Corey Clement. Not a crazy run play. All we're going to see here is Greg Ward. He's going to come in motion as if he's running a jet sweep. He's going to convert into a blocker to come and get the safety. You're going to get a pull here by Matt Pryor. He's going to go up to the second level. The big thing, though, is you get great blocking by the tight ends here on the play side, because Corey Clement, he's just going to turn this and run off the left. You get great movement by these two tight ends, and they're going to get that movement. That's going to create some softness, a little bit of a bubble here for the offense to work through. And that's why by the time Matt Pryor gets across, there aren't many guys for him to block because the tight ends do such a good job here. Again, we'll let this play out. You're going to see Greg Ward. He's going to come in motion. He's going to go hunt up the safety. Here comes Matt Pryor on the move. Look at all the space that Clement's got to work. Runs behind his pads, finishes falling forward into the end zone for a touchdown. Well-designed run there by the Eagles. Well executed by the tight ends at the point of attack. Greg Ward getting the safety. Good physical run there by Corey Clement. That pulls them within a couple of points. But obviously, as we know, that was the last time the Eagles put any points on the board in this game. They fall to the New York Giants on the road in MetLife Stadium. It's tough to have that level of offensive success when you're working on long fields and not succeeding on third down. The Eagles 0 for 9 on third down in this football game. That is tough to rebound from as an offense. But look, they've got to move past this game as quickly as possible because they have got a tough stretch of games here, a bunch of teams with winning records. It starts this Sunday against the Cleveland Browns. They are a physical, hard-nosed football team. We're going to be breaking it all down on the Eagle Eye in the Sky podcast, fueled by Gatorade. Myself, Greg Cosell, will be talking about this loss against New York and previewing this upcoming matchup against the Cleveland Browns. You can find that wherever podcasts can be found. Until then, we'll see you next week right here on the All-22 Review, driven by AAA. I am Fran Duffy. We'll see you a week from today. Fly, Eagles, fly.